All right, guys, as promised, we are here at Jester King Brewery. Now, this is like a destination location here in Southwest Austin. So not only do they do a brewery, beer, cider, so on like that, but they have these beautiful grounds where, again, you can take a beer, you can take a cider, you can go walk on some of their trails. They've got a grotto, they've got play areas for the kids, food, so on like that. So come along, it's gonna be fun.
Hey guys, this is an actual operational farm. Okay, they have a lot of goats, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to take this property and bring it back to the grasslands, and the goats are helping them do that.
They do goat yoga too.
Goat yoga. We're not going to do that. But they brew their beers and their ciders differently, and hopefully we'll be able to show you guys. What they do is they're taking the yeast, the natural yeast that's all over the farm, and they're using that, and what they do is they'll let the air touch the beer before they ferment it, and the natural yeast is what they're using. So let's go check it out.
Dive, which is the farmhouse ale with honey, lime, and grapefruit, because I love my grapefruit.
And I did the Noble King right here, which is an ale with some noble hops, and it's really good. It's not too hoppy. Let's go look at the goats. They also have food here too, huh?
Yeah, food trucks.
Little charcuterie plates, burgers, pizzas. But we're gonna take the farm trail, guys, and go check it out.
We're gonna make it the destination station it's supposed to be.
So guys, not trying to do a history lesson or nothing, but just kind of want to give you an idea. You know, many years ago in the 1800s, Texas did not have a lot of trees, especially the juniper, the cedar tree. It was pretty much grasslands. But you know, as the Germans migrated, they obviously brought the juniper berry, and the juniper berry grew cedar trees. And so in Central Texas, you're going to see a lot of cedar trees. Of course, we have the oak trees, but this farm right now is using these goats, and they'll release them on the property, and they will eat a lot of the brush and everything. They're trying to transform it back to grassland, so they've got a nice little herd over here. How's that beer?
Yoga. Yeah, we actually just wrapped up, and I just sold my last one. I'm so sorry. I'll try to get them to drive me down some more. So it's always
King of the Hill, huh?
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Sure. So really the biggest thing that we ask of these guys is going to be for like holistic grazing, essentially, or rotational grazing. We don't do truly mapped out rotational grazing yet, but that is kind of the goal one day to get there. So a couple hours a day we let the goats out. They graze and browse on our property, and then the biggest thing we're asking is that carbon input. So they're clearing a lot of brush for us, and then 10 hours later it goes directly back into our soil. So they each deposit like 5 pounds of organic manure per goat per day, so super cool. So that's kind of the biggest ask. They clear brush, of course, like I mentioned, so after the freeze, super beneficial for us. And we also compost their manure. So those are the big things. So a lot of people know this breed as a common dairy breed, which they are, but we don't use them for any meat or dairy purposes whatsoever. So they get a really great life out here. I firmly believe that's a big reason why our goats are so trusting and very socialized, is because we don't really subject them to a whole lot, right? They get to live a pretty natural life outside of being in this pen, having a safe space, and getting socialized with literally all day long. But they're very sweet. The only one you have to watch out for in here is this little lady on the stage. This is Phoebe. She has a pink collar on because we have to warn parents about her because she doesn't like children. She was a bottle baby, so she's got like some behavioral things she's working through. Adults she's generally pretty good with, so just be mindful. They give off very gentle cues if they're not vibing with something, so just pay attention to their body language, very much like dogs when it comes to socialization. So just, you know, let them show you what they like. They'll lean into you or they'll walk away. It's pretty obvious from there.
Want to take her home?
only if they stayed this small.
Very cute. Got me a new friend. So guys, the actual farm, they are growing hops for the beer and the cider and stuff like that. As you can see, that this is part of the farm right here, but they do have a lot of fruit trees as well too that they integrate into the beer and the cider, which is pretty cool. So we're just gonna take a walk and we'll show you guys around.
So I have oscillated between beer, their cider, and now we're trying one of their wines.
Yep.
And we're getting ready to go on the brewery tour. So hopefully we can take you guys along with that.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Here we go.
Thank you for coming out to Jester King. My name is Dan. I'm the tour coordinator here at Jester King. It's just at the beginning here. Anyone ever been out here before? Or are we all first timers? Got a couple of multiple. Cool. Welcome back. Welcome for your first time. So, what my job is to do here is make you understand more about our philosophy than about necessarily the brewing science. That being said, I'm going to get complicated. I'm going to talk about technique. I'm going to talk about science and all that. But really what it comes down to is what it means to us to be a true farmhouse brewery. And that comes down to every step of the way, imparting a sense of time, place, and people into everything we do. And every time we do something, we think about those three things. So, really, it's all about this land, it's about this property, it's about working as close to home as we possibly can. So back in 2010, just a little bit of history, we started, our founders and owners, Jeffrey Stuffings and his brother Michael, began this place. So I like to hit on the fact that, you know, we've been a family business since the beginning as well. It's all about keeping those people close to you and working with those that you love. So back then when we started, you know, this place wasn't this huge sprawling landscape that you're looking at now. It was just this tiny little piece of land right here. We purchased this land, even this building wasn't here yet. When we bought it, it was empty. It was just an old farmland. And we drove this old machine shop up from South Texas in Victoria and built it on the spot. And so Jeff has been for the longest time our head brewer, the captain of the ship. Michael, his brother, focuses on the farming, the engineering, and building this place. Since then, we started to expand, and eventually our friends who owned the property first opened up their little pizzeria over here called Stanley's Farmhouse. And we brewed the beer and they made the pizza, and it was a nice little relationship that we had. Eventually though, they were ready to move on and sell, so they offered it up to us. When we purchased Stanley's Pizza, we took in their employees as well. Some of those people are still here today. One of them is our executive chef, Mason. And so we like to keep it close to home.
So the secret is about the water. Okay guys, they don't filter the water. We have a lot of limestone in here, so the water has a lot of minerals. And that's what makes the beer and the cider taste so good. So we're gonna go into the brewery, get a behind the scenes tour.
168. Water, grain, hops, and yeast. Now we pull up that well water, and then we introduce the grain. We get all our grains from here within Texas. They're grown here and sent to our friends in Fort Worth at Tex Malt, who malt them for us. And when we get them in, we're going to send them through our grain mill behind those walls, up and over into this tank on our left over here. This is our mash tun. This is where the hot water and the grains are going to meet for the first time and begin the chemical process that eventually ends up being our beer. Start to activate the enzymes and the proteins inside of our grain to begin to break down. Watch these barrels fermenting and bubbling over.
See that beer foaming over those barrels?
All right, y'all. So here we are in the barrel room. The first thing you're going to notice is the temperature. That's because this room stays the same temperature all year round, right around 64, 65 degrees. This, because the idea is not necessarily to make our beer taste like oak. We are using French and Hungarian white wine barrels. They used this wood fresh when it still had that oak character because they want it passed on to their clients. They finally grow them dry, that's what they sell to people like us. These are just vessels for us to age and mature our farmhouse beer.
All right, we're going upstairs.
Part of the brewery, I think it's the most interesting, the most unique style of beer that we make here at Jester King. And once again, heavily Belgian inspired. When this style of beer is made in a very small region of Belgium near Brussels, it is what's known as lambic. But out of respect for their tradition, when we brew them here, much like champagne, we do not refer to them as lambic. Instead, we call these spontaneously fermented ale, or just spawn for short. So the whole concept is that at no point do we add the most important ingredient, the yeast. It is going to cool down in this open vessel overnight, and wild ambient yeast that's living in the air around us, that's living in these barrels, living in the ceiling, is going to be attracted to those sugars and begin to ferment spontaneously.
Well, that was a cool tour, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
finish the tour. We only gave you bits and pieces of it because we want you to come and visit.
Yeah. All right, guys, we had a fun day trip. We got
Absolutely.
a tour of Jester King Brewery. It's amazing how they use the wild yeast and everything. And we had a little bit of food. We had music. It was a cool day trip.
Yep. They've even got an inn that you can stay in.
Maybe we'll stay there sometime.
Maybe.
But next video tomorrow, guys, is Sunday. I'm harvesting all the carrots. And then we're going to pressure can them. And I'm probably going to blanch and freeze some of them. All right. Y'all have a good one.